This is Create the Next from Pro CFO Partners, where every week we explore strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help today's businesses put their financial picture in context.
Welcome back to Create the Next. I'm Chris Bentliff, and today we've got a really fun conversation with Stephanie Parker, one of our Pro CFOs, and a client of Pro CFO Partners, Geneva Holdings. Tom Stevenson is the CEO and founder. Angie Hewitt is the director of operations. And Tom and Angela, thank you so much for connecting with us, for spending some time with us this morning. And Stephanie, I'm just going to kind of enjoy a conversation like the rest of us who are watching and listening, and explore kind of what this relationship has been like, the highlights, some of the transformative maybe ways that Pro CFO Partners and Geneva have connected. And I'm looking forward to the dynamic conversation you all are having. So Stephanie, please take over.
Great. Thanks, Chris. And thanks, Tom and Angie, for taking the time out of our day here when I'm here at Geneva to go through some of this. So I know I was initially brought in to kind of evaluate an M&A opportunity, but what challenges were you looking to address when you were looking for a part-time CFO for Geneva?
Well, I think when we started, we didn't even know that we needed a part-time CFO. We knew we couldn't afford a full-time, but we didn't even know the part-time was a thing. And now it's become quite a bit more popular. But as we could attest before this meeting started, our supposedly CFO beforehand, we were getting late notices on filings and all this stuff. So I had to reach out to my attorney, and he recommended Pro CFO. And then I think I had gone online and interviewed a couple other people. And one of the other entities came up, and they were, I guess, for lack of better words, we felt like they were kind of slick willies in the fact that they came and they would offer financing, and they wanted to make 2% on the financing. They want to make money on this, on that. Oh, by the way, they would provide, a fractional CFO along the way. So then once my attorney recommended Pro CFO, in fact, he had recommended somebody else that he knew from Pro CFO, but somehow Holly Fardy and Stephanie showed up. And I think that first meeting, we just kind of hit it off together. We could tell there's some synergies. So we said, okay, let's take a chance and start on it. And ever since, I think Stephanie made the comment that she was been doing a lot more kind of instead of just doing strictly the CFO, she's been helping us get organized and stuff as well. So we've had a very good start from the beginning, and it's just, continued to grow.
Because Angie is the director of operations, and I find that the numbers are the numbers are the numbers. And until we kind of dig into operations and sales and marketing and kind of figure out what everything feeding into the numbers is and how it functions, there's always a lot to work to be done across the board, right? And I feel like we've done a really good job of closing some of those gaps that feed into the financial reporting for Geneva. What has anything surprised? I'm sure working with me has surprised you, Tom. Has anything surprised you about working with Pro CFO Partners or a part-time CFO that you probably weren't expecting with this?
I think probably the key word I wasn't expecting, and it's right in your name, is partner. You came in, I was expecting someone to more or less analyze the numbers and give us direction on those, but you've had input on operations and taken an interest in all aspects of the operation, actually. And I found that to be, pretty refreshing. And then your frankness as well always helps. So we never have to wonder what you're thinking.
Well, there's that. There is that. I don't have a great poker face in certain situations. What is your favorite outcome or measurables that we have provided that you previously maybe did not have? The first, and I'm sure you have your own ideas too. The first thing I think of is maybe getting together monthly and going over the Pro CFO reporting financial package.
I think that's probably the most valuable. And the other thing is kind of what you alluded to earlier, is the numbers are the numbers. And we found out that, I don't know, lack of better words, there was misentries by the previous CFO and misapplication of numbers and stuff. And we weren't getting a true reading of where the company was coming from and where it was going. And now with the monthly reports that we're getting, we have a very good idea what's going on.
Right. And, Geneva Holdings has what do we have? 7 companies?
Right.
6 or 7 like rolling into the holding company. And the reporting tool allows us to hit a button and roll it all up directly from their server, where previously somebody was cobbling together Excel spreadsheets and trying to get him the numbers. So it was pretty cumbersome. And I feel like we figured that out. And having that monthly meeting really keeps us on track with margins and where we need to go and how we need to perform in the future.
Correct. And I think the other thing is one of the other reasons why we brought a CFO in was succession planning. In Pro CFO, probably another thing that Pro CFO has done is it's just like they brought in a marketing expert to help us with direction, and they brought in other people that they have alliances with that we can use as a source for the succession planning and estate planning, and possibly, like Stephanie said, when she first started here, we were looking at an M&A opportunity, and then she, decided that we should concentrate on getting which has been I think a bigger task for all of us than we thought, but get all our financials cleaned up in a presentable way that is believable and transferable to anybody who might be interested in the company.
Right. And you mentioned the marketing piece, which is so interesting because we are a collective of 50 to 60 CFOs around the country, and we all have our network and we all have our people. And if there's something one of us isn't versed in, like marketing is not my superpower, I brought in Ellie, our managing director, and she's been a fractional CMO, and she had resources for us to pull in. Instead of just doing transactional marketing, we're putting together a strategic plan and figuring out how to grow and build.
Right. And I think the thing with the fractional part is just like Stephanie has, I think you said you have 3 other companies as well as ours. So she brings a different aspect where if you hired one CFO, then it's kind of like it's one dimensional, or like she said, between the organization she's involved with and herself, they have so many different perspectives, and we're involved in different industries. So it really helps because she can pull on people and say, okay, in the IT industry, this is what's going on. In the equipment sales, she can reach out to other people and say, well, this is what your numbers should look like. And so we have a lot of different places to do comparisons.
Right. I know that Tom has been extremely successful with jumping on deals and buying things that he knows are a great deal. And Angie always chimes in and tries to help with that decision making. But I feel like we've gone from I really think this is a good deal to backing it up with data and doing some deal desk modeling and making sure everything makes sense going forward, right? So Tom has the relationships and the great business instinct. And then Angie and I are putting together the numbers saying, here's what it's going to look like.
Well, kind of the agreement has been since we've all started working together, and I think it takes a while. Angie's been with me about 2.5 years. Stephanie's been, I think, last November or somewhere like that. But we've gelled together now where, I think we trust each other's judgment. But I guess to be honest, I have a tendency to fly by the seat of my pants. And they both kind of anchored that down a little bit and said, hey, we have to do some analysis here before you jump out of the plane.
Let's do this exercise. Finish the thought. Before I used to think that, and now I know that. Angie, you first.
Well, I guess before I used to think that a CFO was just messing with the numbers in the background and we wouldn't hear much from you. And now I know that there's so much more to being a CFO. And I've learned so much from you.
Well, thank you for being somebody who is willing to learn and capable of learning as well. Okay, Tom, you're up.
I think I used to think the CFO was optional. I knew that we should have them, but I guess I didn't know the opportunities were available up until the last year. And now I know that to grow a business and have it presentable and marketable and everything, having a CFO is not an option. You have to have it.
Nice. And would you recommend Pro CFO Partners to others?
I don't know how I couldn't, because like you said, it's such a diverse group and it brings in so many different perspectives. It could help. What I've seen so far, like I said, I think we're diverse, but not nearly as much as some companies. But, with all the other assets that you have, marketing assets and other, almost whatever you need in your business, you've got somebody in the company's got contacts that you can reach out to and bring to the party.
Also, like for Pro CFO Partners, you were also an ideal client because there was no gatekeeping here. You were all open with everything that was going on, all the data, everything I needed access to, whether it's even salespeople or your marketing girls or your admin sitting at the front desk. I have access to everybody here to get whatever I need whenever I want it. And that's part of the success is not only am I partnering with you, but you've also partnered with me.
I agree with that. I think one of the biggest things I've seen, in getting involved with other organizations is a lot of people, I don't know if it's a fear of change or it's easier not to change. But I could see where somebody like yourself might go into a company and they could say, well, this is the way we've always done it. And this is the way we're going to keep doing it. And we don't have that attitude because we're fast enough changing and growing that we know we have to change with the times. And kind of like we were talking earlier today, that marketing, probably in the last 2 years has changed a lot, let alone the last 20 years. And if you fail to change with the economy, with the way marketing's done, with whatever, you're going to be left in the dirt. And unfortunately, we see a lot of companies that are left in the dirt because of the failure to change.
Mm-hmm. And that willingness when you're growing, because you've had some exponential growth over the last 3 years, that willingness when you're growing to also grow with like the resources that you need or the marketing resources that we need to take it to the next level is so important to recognize that, because I feel like that's when some smaller to mid-sized companies start to stagnate.
I think the biggest thing is, when you're running a smaller business or actually any kind of a business, when you look at, you look at the cost of a CFO or even a fractional CFO, and you think, well, how does this fit in my budget? But it becomes one of those things where you can't afford not to do it. It's kind of like I said earlier, you can't afford not to have a CFO because, it's an expense, but you can save enough on other costs and, help the company grow enough to more than offset it. But like I said, I've seen a lot of people get stuck. Well, we can't do this. We can't afford it. You can't afford not to, because you're never going to grow if you don't make those changes.
It's always so interesting to be the guy who knows nothing about anything and just to see and hear and learn about how everybody kind of clicks and ticks together. And Angela, I'm wondering about, I feel like operations is sometimes like the catch-all, like please know everything about everything to some extent so that when someone asks a question, you have some intelligence to it. Has the relationship with Stephanie and what she has been able to kind of develop or bring into new ways of thinking, new ways of operating, new sensibilities, has that freed up mental energy for you, actual workspace for you? Has that changed the dimensions at all about how you approach work or the things that you're actually doing or the contributions you feel like you're making?
Oh, definitely. I mean, she's taken a huge load off of my back, for one thing, because she is she can talk Tom down off of, deals that maybe we don't love. So that's huge. But I've learned so much, so I can talk a little bit better with the staff if they have any questions. And she's still teaching me, just how to do operations. There's just so much that you don't know and you don't learn in a small place. And she's got so much experience that it's huge to be able to just throw some of that off and not have to worry about it anymore.
And Tom, I feel like you mentioned earlier how you kind of like to fly or operate from the seat of your pants, and it's good to have grounding sort of sensibilities around you. But at the same time, I think that sense of running on instinct, that kind of energy, that kind of vision is a very important skill set for a founder, a leader, a CEO to have. And as much as we want grounding sensibilities, are there ways that the relationship has freed you up from not having to worry about this or think about that or wonder about this, but where you're able to flex some of those things that are your natural skill sets because you know this other thing is being taken care of?
Well, I think it gives me an opportunity to make better decisions, knowing that Stephanie's in the background saying, hey, we can do this, we can do that, versus just like I said, kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And then another thing that she's done, I have two sayings: people don't know what they don't know. And then the other one that I love to say is, how do you ask the question if you don't know what the question's supposed to be? And Stephanie has brought a lot of those, answers and said, this is how stuff should be done. These are the numbers, like say return on equity and, all those kind of, she can bring and say, okay, these are where your numbers could look like. Because so let's be honest, if you're trying to grow a company, you're going to go after capital. She knows what they're going to want to see. She knows what that credit analyst is going to be looking for. So then, we can be prepared, and we know we either have the right numbers or we know we have to adjust to get the right numbers for successful, debt offering or whatever.
Right. And the cost of capital has been a big deal for everyone lately, right? If you go from, you need 5% on your assets to make a return, now you need 8.5% because that's the cost of capital.
Right.
So the world has changed a little bit, and the business modeling has changed as well.
Is that, Stephanie, talking about these things, all these sort of areas of expertise that you've been able to kind of flex inside of here to say, I can help here and I can help here and I can help here. And you mentioned how Tom and Angela are the right kind of people who are eager to learn and interested in and are not, somehow afraid to have some vulnerability around those things, which I always find, as you mentioned, a great strategist doesn't know what the answers are. They know what the right questions are. And it sounds like that's a space where you've been able to kind of really contribute something inside of Geneva. Has this engagement for you, are there places where you've said in your own head, these people don't even know how good they are at this, or they don't even realize the potential they have here, or if we can just scratch the surface here, we could do so much more here. Has there been kind of an excitement for you around what's possible, not just solving problems, but, wow, we could look down the road and this thing could be something like, has that been in your mind at all?
Yes, definitely. And we have, one of our revenue silos kind of ramping up right now, and we'll do our strategic planning for 2025 in September and October. And we're going to talk about new ways to make money. The new revenue silo is assisting with ramping up that return on those assets that were just kind of stagnant. And so we're moving everything in the right direction right now. And that's exciting to me because when I work with someone, especially this company, I'm rooting for them. I'm part of this team. I'm part of this success. And if they're successful, I'm successful. And I really care. And that's half the battle.
And representative, I think, of Pro CFO Partners and the kind of talent they attract and the kind of relationships that they look for and the ways that create the next is a successful mantra, I think. Well, Tom and Angela, what a great conversation. Stephanie, thanks for your insightful leadership just in this conversation. I hope that you will all come back a year from now, a year and a half from now, and we can pick this back up and see how it's been going and what's been new and what's been exciting and what new challenges have been addressed and how it's gone. This is, you're an exciting company and you seem like really great people. And we are, as Stephanie says, rooting for you. So thank you for spending some time with us today. And Stephanie, thank you for all that you've done with Geneva, and we're looking forward to the future.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. Visit ProCFOPartners.com for more strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help you put your business's financial picture in context.